Very good afternoon, students. Today, let me explain you about a new chapter, that is phylum Porifera. So this phylum Porifera is otherwise commonly known as sponges. Dear students, you must have studied about these sponges or poriferans already in your high school section as well as in PU level. But here in this class, let me go through the elaborate information about these sponges. So this phylum Porifera, it is exclusively aquatic forms. It includes all aquatic forms only. Majority of them are marine and some of them are freshwater forms. And this phylum Porifera, it is also otherwise known as sponges, as I said earlier, because the body of these sponges will have a number of perforations, or the holes are present, or the small pores are present, hence the name sponges or porifera. This phylum Porifera includes variety of colorful sponges. So if you go to the deeper part of the sea, you will be able to see the very wonderful and fascinating colors that are being exhibited by these sponges. Coming to introduction, phylum Porifera consists of most primitive multicellular animals called sponges. All the members are sessile, that is without stalk. That means they are not attached to the substratum. And the members are sedentary, always fixed to a particular substratum and attached to any substratum similar to plants, but they don't have a proper stalk for the purpose of attachment as it is seen in other animals. Ellis in 1765 discovered the animal nature of sponges. So earlier the sponges are referred to as a kind of plant group, so the plant examples. Sponges contain several tiny pores in their body wall, hence referred to as pore bearers or sponges, and their body consists of loosely packed cells exhibiting cellular grade of body organization. And there are about 9,000 to 15,000 species of poriferans that have been described so far, with simple basic anatomy and fairly constant in all the species. They are very ancient and highly successful and have been living in waters, that is in aquatic system, which includes both marine and fresh waters, that is of the world, and more than 600 million years. The term porifera was coined by Robert Grant in 1825, and it was Huxley and Solas in 1884 who proposed complete separation of sponges from other metazoans. You see here, students, we have come across with a term called metazoans. You know, metazoans are nothing but multicellular animals. So they are the first group of multicellular animals. That means their body consisting of a number of cells. And though they are having many cells in their body, but still the body functions are carried out through cells itself, hence known as cellular grade of body organization. And these sponges are often called nature's dead end, as in the phylogenetic tree or the evolutionary tree, they form an offshoot of metazoans called parazoans, which includes a single phylum Porifera, and they are the only members from which no other branches have evolved, and thus believe that sponges are dead end on the evolutionary road. Coming to general characters, first one, sponges are most primitive multicellular animals which exhibit cellular grade of body organization, the thing which I already told you, without differentiation of cells into tissues and organs. So though their body has many number of cells, but they are not organized to form tissues or organs, So the functions are carried out through cells itself. Coming to habit, sponges are free living, sedentary, solitary, or colonial, feeding on algae and diatoms carried by the water current. Habitat. All sponges are aquatic, mostly marine, but a few are freshwater forms. Next, body symmetry. They are asymmetrical without a proper symmetry, while solitary sponges and some colonial forms are radially symmetrical. Now, body shape. It is cylindrical or tubular or vase-like, cushioned shape, or while some are irregular in shape with numerous small pores called ostia or dermal pores, and canals and chambers that help in ingression of water. Larger openings through which water exits called oscula. The singular form is osculum. These are also present. Now, body wall. The cells are loosely arranged and do not form definite layers, although some authors consider it to be diploblastic, since the body wall comprises of two layers having outer flat pinacoderm made up of flattened cells called pinacocytes and inner choanoderm made up of collared cells called choanocytes. In between these two layers is a jelly-like mesenchyme having wandering amoeboid cells. Now, body skeleton. In most sponges, the body is supported with minute needle-like skeletal structures called spicules, which are generally present embedded in the mesoglia. These spicules are of varied shapes and sizes, made of calcium carbonate or silica, while some have collagen-like protein called spongin fibers. Now, body cavity. The body wall encloses a cavity called paragastric cavity or spongocyl, lined by choanoderm, which opens to the exterior by large openings, that is oscula. Now, let me give you a definition of this canal system. It is an intricate interconnecting system of several canals or tubes with several openings through which a constant current of water always flows. And this canal system serves many important functions in the body of these sponges, and the body wall of sponges is folded into an intricate complex system that is called canal system, through which water flows into the body, that is through the smaller pores called ostia. The entire physiological activities like nutrition, digestion, excretion, and reproduction depend on the water current leading through these canals. Now, about locomotion. Sponges are sedentary, hence they have no locomotory structures. However, their free-swimming larvae called amphiblastula or parenchyma possesses cilia as their locomotory structures, which help in dispersal of the species. So only in larval stages they have the ability to move. Then digestion is entirely intracellular because there is no proper system, and circulatory, excretory systems are also lacking. Nervous system and sensory cells are also lacking. Then coming to reproduction, it occurs by both asexual and sexual methods. Asexual methods occur by budding, fission, or gemule formation, while sexual method is by production of sperms and ova, and sponges are hermaphrodite or bisexual or monoecious, although the two types of gametes are produced at different time intervals. Then fertilization. Although sponges produce both male and female gametes, cross fertilization is the rule, and fertilization is always internal. It's very interesting to observe here that students, though they are bisexual, but they practice cross fertilization. How this is possible? Probably in your PU class you must have heard of a phenomenon what are called as protandry and protogyny. Protandry refers to the maturation of male gonads first and the subsequent release of male gametes, whereas protogyny refers to the maturation of female gonads and the release of female gametes. So in poriferans, either it is through protandry or through protogyny they practice cross fertilization, and from the evolutionary point of view it is very essential to bring about variations. As you know that normally cross fertilization will always produce good number of variations when compared to self fertilization. Then coming to development, the zygote develops inside the body of the sponge, resulting into a free swimming ciliated larva called amphiblastula or parenchyma larva. Hence development is always indirect with a larval stage. Then regeneration. Sponges have high power of regeneration, because of which it is considered to be a very successful group of simple multicellular animals. Now coming to classification. The classification of sponges is based on the type and nature of skeleton they possess, and the phylum Porifera is basically divided into three classes. They are class Calcarea or Calcispongiae. Second one, Hexactinellida or Hyalospongiae, and the third one, Demospongiae. Now coming to class 1, Calcarea. The members of this class possess calcareous spicules, hence the name, and the spicules are made of calcium carbonate. The members of this class are all marine, smaller in size, solitary or colonial, and the shape of the body usually is cylindrical or vase shaped. Osculum is narrow, terminal, fringed with spicules, and skeleton consists of spicules which may be monaxon, triradiate or tetraradiate, etc. Collar cells or choanocytes are comparatively larger. The canal system can be ascon or cycon or leucon type, and the spongocoel is lined by choanocytes. Examples: Leucosolenia, Clathrina, Scypha or Cycon, Grantia and Lucilla. So these are the photographs of different members of this class Calcarea. The first one is Cycon, which you might have studied, and next to which there will be the sponge, what is known as Leucosolenia, and on the right hand side of which there will be Grantia. And here on the bottom side of this slide you will be able to see some other examples of this class Calcarea, and these are also marine in nature, and the example that is shown here is Lucilla. Then coming to class Hexactinellida, the members of this class are called glass rope sponges, having trioxan or hexactinal spicules made of silica, and these are deep tropical sea forms. Members of this class are moderate in size, extending up to 1 meter in length, and are usually solitary. The body shape is usually cylindrical, cup-shaped or funnel-shaped. The osculum is wide and covered by a siliceous sieve plate. The skeleton consists of trioxan or hexactinal siliceous spicules often fused to form a basket shaped. And the canal system is simple ragone type, and choanocytes are restricted to finger-like flagellated chambers. Examples: Euplectella, commonly known as Venus flower basket, then Hyalonema, commonly known as glass rope sponge, Staurocalyptus, Pheronema, Fernaria, etc. So these are the good examples of class Hexactinellida. The one which you observe there in the top, it is nothing but Euplectella, which is commonly known as Venus flower basket, and on the right hand side of which you will see Hyalonema, which is commonly called glass rope sponge. So this is also glass rope sponge, and this is also glass rope sponge. And after that, on the bottom side, you will see Staurocalyptus and Pheronema, and these are the other good examples of. So this is what Pheronema, and this is what Staurocalyptus. Then class 3, Demospongiae. The members of this class are diverse and complicated, with skeleton of siliceous spicules or spongin fibers or combination of both. They are mostly marine, but few sponges are found in fresh water also. So you must remember one important thing here, that this class Demospongiae is the only class in phylum Porifera which has a few freshwater members. And members of this class vary from small to large size, may be solitary or colonial, and the body shape is variable, being round, oval, cup-like or funnel-shaped. The skeleton is made of microscopic siliceous spicules or spongin fibers or both, and the spicules are either monoaxon type or triaxon type. And the canal system is complicated and is of leucon type. And choanocytes are restricted to small flagellated chambers, and in some sponges like Euspongia, the skeleton is exclusively composed of spongin fibers only without any spicules. Example: Ascarella, Halina, Geodia, Spongilla, a freshwater sponge; Cliona, which is called boring sponge; Euspongia, commonly known as bath sponge; Hippospongia, commonly known as horse sponge; Calaina, commonly known as dead man's finger; Ephidacia, commonly known freshwater sponge. So these are the photographs of the members of this class Demospongiae. On the top left hand corner, you will see the presence of that member. Can you guess, students? It is nothing but Euspongia, that is bath sponge. Sorry, in the middle it is Euspongia, and on the top it is nothing but Spongilla, one of the best known freshwater sponge, and wherein you can see a big opening called osculum and several small openings called ostia, and you can make out this bigger opening here, that is nothing but osculum. Okay, and apart from that it includes the other members like Cliona. So this is what Cliona, and this is what Spongilla again, and this is what Euspongia, that is bath sponge. It is called bath sponge because earlier it was being used by people of coastal areas for cleaning their body surfaces. That is, at the time of bath, that was being used, hence known as bath sponge. And next to which there is a sponge example, what is known as Calaina, which is commonly known as dead man's finger. And next to which there is another such example, what is called Cliona. And on the bottom line of this slide, you see one of the best known freshwater sponge, what is known as Ephidacia, and it is another Apidaceae only, but it is richly impregnated with zoochlorella, a kind of algae, hence the color is dark green. So this is an image showing the different types of cells that are there in sponges, the cutaway section of canals showing cellular structure and direction of water flow. You see the water flow, it is through this opening, the bigger opening called osculum. Then it moves through several canals as you see in the diagram, and there are several tubes and several openings in between, and finally that goes out of the body through excurrent canal, that is through pores called oscula. So this is another diagram showing the different type of cells and the current of water which flows. And there are basically the three types of canal systems are shown here, and the first one is asconoid type, and the next one is syconoid type, and the next one is leuconoid type. Apart from these three major types, there is also a type of canal system called rhagonoid type, and let me explain you in detail about all these types of canal systems in my next class, because you have a topic, an elaborate topic, what is called as canal system in sponges. So that time I will explain you in detail, students, about canal system and its types. Then sponges are supported by skeleton, that thing I already told you, which is either spicules or spongin fibers, and spicules are made up of either calcium carbonate or silica, and they may take on a variety of shapes. And alternatively, skeleton may be made of spongin, a fibrous protein made of collagen, and the dried, beaten and washed collagen or the spongin fiber, it produces commercial sponges. So these are the different photographs of different types of skeletal structures like spongin fibers, in the middle siliceous spicules, and on the right hand side calcareous spicules. So this is another photograph or the slide showing different types of skeletal projections of the cells present in sponges. And this is the microscopic diagrammatic view of a poriferan wall, where you can see several types of cells here, and the skeletal structure like spicule as well as spongin fiber, and there is an opening called ostium, and there are some other such type of cells here like choanocytes, archaeocytes, pinacocytes, and then sclerocytes, and the mesenchyme containing the other variety of cells too. So this is a photograph showing you the different type of cells present in sponge body. So with this, let me stop at this level, students. We'll continue our discussion in the next class. Thank you.